Hi all, and welcome back to ECS 30. In this video, we're going to go over your first homework assignment, which is your Introduction to Unix tutorial, because quite a few people end up having issues with this because they're just getting started. So the very first thing that we're going to need to do is we're going to need to connect to the CSIF. This was talked about in the previous video, so go ahead and do that. We're going to be using MOBA Exterm because I'm over here on Windows, and going to double click one of my previous sessions to restore it. So now we're logged back here and we're back into the CSIF computers. If you're working on a Mac, you can actually do this at home or on Linux, but if you're on Windows, you will need to sign in to the CSIF. So the very first thing that we're going to show you are techniques to move around within the file directory using the command line. The first thing that you want to know is PWD. PWD stands for Print Working Directory, and it's going to tell you what directory you're in. Right now, I'm in home/mfbutner. The other command that's really useful is ls, and ls is going to show you all the files and directories that are in the current directory. These blue guys here are the directories, and the white ones are files, and the green ones are programs that I can run. What you can also do is add some options after ls. If you do ls-a, it's going to show all the files in the directory, including the hidden ones. The hidden ones are the ones that start with dot. Sometimes they're used by certain programs and generally aren't necessary to need to be displayed, but if you really need to see everything, ls-a is going to show it. And if you do ls-l, it's going to show you the long form version of the files. So it's going to show you the file permissions for each file, whether you have read, write, or execute permissions for the user as well as for other people. It's going to tell you the size of the file in bytes, when you created it, and what the name of the file is. And you can also run the A and the L at the same time to see everything, including the hidden files and their long form version. Sometimes your screen is going to get really crowded like it is right now, and you want to get rid of everything that's there. So type clear, and that'll clear everything off of the screen. Now if we do ls again, we can see the directories and the files. If we want to change the directory that we're in, we can use cd. So if I wanted to go into my ECS directory, I would say cd ECS. And now I'm in the ECS directory. If I do PWD, you can see that I've now moved there. And if I do ls, you can see the various files that I have. So those are the commands for moving around. If you just do cd by itself, it's going to move you back into your home directory. So now I'm back into PWD, home/mfbutner. Again, you want to go into a file. We can go cd into ECS, then cd into 30, which is the directory in there, and now I'm in ECS/30. If I want to go back up one level, there's a special character for that. It's ... If I do cd ... it'll move me back up one level, and you're going to see that I'm back in just ECS. Or if I do cd ... again, it will bring me back up into my home directory. You can also change into more than one directory at once. So if we do cd ECS and then do /30, this is going to allow me to go into the 30 directory located within the ECS directory. And I am once again there. And if I wanted to here, I could go into cd into files, and then I could be into the files directory. And there's a whole bunch of files in here. Clear the screen because it's getting very busy again. And then I'm going to change back into my original directory, my home directory, by doing cd. We did that, we did the A and the L. Probably saw a lot of stuff show up on the screen. File permissions, you can see that the D says it's a directory, R stands for read, the W stands for write, and the X stands for execute. These first three permissions are for yourself. The next three are for people that happen to be in your group. and then these other 3 are for the world. So right now this is a directory where you can read, write, and execute. People in your group can just read and execute, and the people in the world can also just read and execute it as well. Now, sometimes we're going to want to be able to create new directories, and we're going to use the makedir command. So we want to run the makedir first to create a new directory. So makedir first, and you can see that we now have this first directory that wasn't there before. This guy has now appeared. And now we're going to go into first. And because this is a new directory, if we run ls, we're going to see that there's nothing in here. And the next thing that we want to do is make 2 directories, third, second, and third. And if we do ls, we can see that they have now appeared, and we now have those 2 directories. If we want to remove a directory, we can use rmdir. So if we do rmdir second, it's going to be gone. And if you're using rmdir, the directory that you have to remove, that you're trying to remove, it has to be empty. I'll talk about a little bit later how we can remove non-empty directories if we want to. And if we do ls again, we can see that second went away, and now there is just third. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a file called hello.txt, and we're going to copy, move, and delete this file. So we're going to run this command right here, echo hello, arrow hello.txt. The echo hello says print the word hello to the screen, and this arrow says instead of printing it to the screen, go put it into hello.txt instead. So we're going to do echo hello over into hello.txt. There we go. And you can see that we've now created a new file called hello.txt, which should have the words hello in it. Now we're going to create a copy of that program, or a copy of hello.txt called myfile, and cp is the command that's going to be used to copy a file. So cp hello.txt, and what's the name of the new file that we're going to create? Well, we said we wanted to create a file called myfile, and we now have a new file called myfile, and it has the exact same contents as hello.txt. If you want to display the contents of a file, you can use the cat command. You can use cat hello.txt. You can see it just has hello in it, cat myfile. It also has hello in it because they're a copy, or because myfile is a copy of hello.txt. Then the next thing we're going to want to do is we want to copy myfile into third. If you copy a file into a directory, it's going to go place that file into the directory. So again, if we do ls, you can see the contents instead of first, which is hello.txt, myfile in third. And if we do ls third, because with ls you can specify the name of directory, you can see that we can see what's inside of the third directory, which just has myfile, because back up here we copied it into third. The next command we're going to check out is move command. Move has 3 syntaxes. It can actually be used to rename a file, where you give the old file name and the new file name to change the file. If you do a file name and a directory name, it'll move that file into directory name. Or if you do move an old directory name into the new directory name, it'll change the name of that directory. So if we do a move of my file over to Wombat, as it says in the instructions, you're going to see that my file has now been renamed to Wombat. And if we cat Wombat, we can see that Wombat still just has hello. We've just renamed that file. Then we're going to move third slash myfile to the current directory. The dot stands for the current directory. Dot dot is your parent, who's one above you. Dot is yourself. So if we do move third/my file to here, we're saying take the file named my file inside of third and move it to the current directory, whatever it happens to be. And you will now see that we now have my file here in the current directory. And if we do an ls of third, there's nothing inside of third. Then we're finally going to rename our third directory to fourth. We're going to move third to fourth. And if we do ls, you can see that fourth or third has now become fourth, just like we wanted. I'm going to clear the screen again, because again, it's getting pretty full. And again, this is what we have. Fourth, hello.txt, my file, and wombat, all located within the first directory. If we want to remove a file, it's rm and then the file name. So we can do rm, my file, and we can see it'll ask us if we want to remove it. We say yes, and it's now gone. If we wanted to say remake that third directory, make dir third, and then place a copy of third or copy of wombat into third, we're now going to have a third directory again. And if we look inside third, we can see that there's wombat. If we wanted to try to remove this directory, rm dir third, it's not going to work because the directory is full. If you want to be able to delete a directory, you have to use rm, which is normally used to remove files, but you have to add this extra option -r. And so you won't be asked if you want to delete everything inside of it. The F option as well. The F stands for forced. And then we're going to do third. And this will delete the third directory and everything inside of it. You want to be really careful using this command, because if you do use it to delete something and you want it back, you can't get it back. It's gone. Normally when you delete files, say in Windows, it'll place them into a trash directory and you can rescue them out of the trash. Here, deleting them just deletes them and they're gone. So be very, very careful with this command, the rm-rf. So one thing that might happen is we might try to do something like copy wombat into fourth/state. You can see that we've actually misnamed wombat or wombat. So if we do copy wombat into fourth/snake, and we're like, oh shoot, I've renamed that file or misnamed wombat, what I can do is I can use the arrow keys to move back and forth, and I can delete that O to get it back to be wombat. Well, let's say I had made that mistake and I went to copy it, and we went to say copy wombat again instead of wombat into fourth/snake. It's not going to work. It's going to say cannot stop wombat, no such file or directory. What the computer is trying to tell you is that it can't find a file named wombat in the current directory. And if we do ls, notice there's no file named wombat. There is a wombat, but no wombat, so it wasn't able to find it. Now, if we do make this mistake, one feature that's really handy is we can press the up key to go back to our previous commands. So we can go up, 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 and it's going to remember all the commands that we did in this current session. If you happen to end your session and exit, it's going to get all cleared out, so you won't be able to go back and redo the command. So we notice that, oh, here was our mistake that we named wombat incorrectly. We use our arrow keys to get over, backspace to delete it, and now when I copy wombat over to fourth/snake, it's going to work. And if we look inside fourth, we're going to notice there's a file called snake, because we said we wanted to copy wombat into the directory fourth, but its name should be snake. So now we have a snake instead of our fourth directory. One other thing that's also really nice is the tab key. If you press the tab key with a command, say like F in the fourth, it'll try to auto-complete it for you. So if we do ls, then just type F and hit tab, it'll do fourth. If we happen to have multiple files that have the same name in the current directory, for example, we made a fifth. and we try to do LSF, well, it's going to give us the option, oh, do you want 5th or 4th? If we fill in enough characters to be able to differentiate it, which just happens to be the next one, O, then it'll do 4th if we hit tab. If we do the I, it'll do the 5th. So that's really helpful, and if you ever see me in class typing things really fast, I'm not actually typing things really fast, I'm just hitting the tab key a lot. And right now I'm going to get rid of 5th, but you know, pause the video for a second and try to do it yourself. Think about what command am I going to do to remove 5th. I'll give you a second to think about that. Okay, so again, it's the rmdir because 5th is empty. So we'll do rmdir 5th, hit the tab key to finish up, enter, and now 5th is gone. We're logged in and we still don't want to be finished yet. One thing that can be really useful is hitting Control-C. Control-C will kill the currently running program. So if I do something like the top command, top is going to show me the top running processes on this computer. But I may not want to watch this anymore. So if I hit Control-C, it's going to kill that program that was running. If things are running really slow on your computer, you can run top and you can see which applications and which users are using up all the resources for that computer. And if someone's being really greedy, you might want to consider switching to another computer to get better performance. We already talked about cat. Cat will display the entire contents of the file. More will only display one line. So these files right now are really short. So if we did cop cat wombat, it's really short. So I'm going to go back into the parent directory and find a bit of a longer file. Let's say we did this one over here, towersofhanoi.c. I did cat towersofhanoi.c. It's going to show the entire contents of that file showing up to the screen all at once, and you can scroll up and down to get see it. But sometimes files are really big, and so you might want to use more on towersofhanoi.c, and this will give you one page at a time. And if you want to move to the next page, you can hit space, and it'll move you to the next page and move you through it. Clear the screen to get rid of all that stuff. Also, there's head. Head will display the contents of the file. So if we did head towersofhanoi.c, this by default will show me the first 10 lines. If I want to see more or less, I can do head -n, and then how many lines do I want to see? Well, maybe I want to see the first 20 of towersofhanoi.c. This will now show me the first 20. Or maybe I want to see a little bit fewer. Maybe only the first 2. I can change n to 2. As the counterpart to head, there's tail. Tail will display the last lines of the file. So if I do tail on towersofhanoi.c, it'll do the last 10 lines. And again, it also has a -n option to say how many lines we want. Maybe you want the last 13 of towersofhanoi.c, and you'll see we'll get 3 more lines. Just as a word of note, you guys won't have a towersofhanoi.c. That just happens to be only on my own computer. But you do have the snake and wombat, which is going to ask you to run these commands on. But since they're such simple files, you're not really going to see that much of a difference. The final thing that we're going to want to do is be able to move our files over. And you can use SFTP, which is a program on the Linux machines to move files, or you can use it if you're on Mac. It doesn't really exist inside of Windows. So if we're over here inside of Windows and we just want to copy the files, which in this case we need to copy snake and wombat over to our computer to be able to submit them on Mimnir. Oops, wrong tab. We can go over here on the side and go into the right one. So we should have hit refresh over here. You can see that there's the first, so we're going to go inside first. So one of the files that we want to download is Wombat. So we'll go ahead and right click on that and say download. And then we're going to ask, where do we want to save it? Maybe for me, I want to go save that into my downloads. So I'm going to go save Wombat. And then remember, inside of fourth is where we have Snake. So I'm going to right click on that after going inside Snake. Download that. Also put into downloads. And now I've downloaded the 2 files that I need to submit. And if I go over here and I look in my downloads folder, you're going to see that I have both Snake and Wombat. These are the 2 files that we need to submit to let us know that you've completed this assignment. So we're going to go over here to Mimir. We're going to go find the Linux tutorial, which is what I've been doing this whole time. We would then go to click on Submit Project, and then we're going to choose the files that we want to submit. We want to make sure that we are going to submit both the files at the same time. If you don't select both of those files, the grader is going to think that you're missing one and you're going to lose some points. So for me to highlight both of them, I clicked on one and then hold Control and click the other. I'll hit open. You can see that Snake and Wombat are going to be submitted. And for this project only, you're going to get this error that it's looking for some other file named filecheck.py. Just ignore it this time, and we're going to submit anyway. Most of the time, you're probably not going to want to ignore that. Good, we're done. We can go ahead and check the results. We can see that we were successful. So we had both Snake submitted successfully and Wombat submitted successfully. Let's say, though, that I made a mistake and I only chose to submit Snake in this case. Click Open, click Submit. We'd submit anyway, ignoring that warning. Check our results, and you can see that, hey, this time we failed. We found Snake, but no Wombat was submitted. Hopefully you guys found this tutorial helpful in getting used to working around with Linux and following the steps. But if you have questions, go ahead and post those on Piazza, and we'll be more than happy to answer them for you. And now that we're done here and we want to close our connection, we are going to type exit, and we're done. I will see you guys on the next video or in class, whichever we get to first.